If League of Legends was a single-player game, it'd be the best one in the world, but unfortunately you have to interact with other humans who tend to bring their worst self to this piss pit of a rift that we're all addicted to, and I think the following game can sum up the average League of Legends experience pretty well.
First blood. Enemy killing spree. A summoner has disconnected. An enemy is legendary. Defeat.
Okay, so let's first do the introductions to give these failed abortions the most attention they will probably ever receive in their life. My jungler must have saw that J4 was ranked the top jungler this patch and figured first timing the flavor of the month will make up for the fact that he's the reason shampoo comes with instructions. My support was the clown who makes people frown, but in this game he was more concerned with typing than warding or looking at the map. The little hobo midget of a mid laner was on a 12-game losing streak, and the amount of tilt you could see in her gameplay will make you think you're looking at her sideways. Our top told us boldly in Champ Select after he locked in Glacial Augment Rune Renekton that one death and he's leaving, which I can only assume is a desperate and sad cosplay way of finding an excuse to say see you later alligator, and this brings me to the last stereotype of League that pisses me off. The people who are actually going to watch the events of this dumpster fire game and blame my off-meta pick as the problem, and to you I just want to reserve a special suck on my taint, but to the rest of us who can relate, please slap my subscribe button like it's a solo queue teammate, and let's get into my personal depression. Okay, so game starts and I'm fin to sit in more bushes and wait for unsuspecting kids than a registered sex offender as Saul stubs his little chode dragon toe on a Jack in the Box. Then I waste my heal for no apparent reason before we pop that first blood cherry. But an early preview of the Sped 8 playing Tristana gives a bit of foreshadowing into the skill level we are dealing with here, as a jump into stand still for 8 seconds and auto attack combo comes out hot, and to everyone's shock ends poorly for her. I guess this is all my jungler needed to see to decide that he should head mid and show everyone there exactly why Jarvan III is embarrassed to tell people they're related as he hungry hippos a full Lucian ult. Then Trist and her Einstein-sized brain decides to hop in only to get exhausted and chased away. And I'm thinking that's fine, we only lost one, but she decides to stick around longer than a herpy on a whore, because there will definitely be another awful opportunity for her to display her ineptitude, and I'm thinking okay, surely the dipshit has learned her lesson this time, but she decides to go straight back to lane pathing worse than a roofied GPS, which earned Obama his easiest win since 2008. Anyways, I'm bot that whole time wondering why Rift Alexa is blabbering on about my teammates being dog shit, so I head over to set up a double trouble peekaboo ×2 to shut him down and return color to the sped shitter's screen. I stick around knowing that fake Natty Kitten is in the area and might try to put a frown on my fellow clown, but I step in to make sure the only Shaco he's getting is a miniature version in a box that scares the shit out of him while I give him directions back to his fountain. But just when I'm about to call it a day and head back bot, I get a fat whiff of some thin mints, and I just know that means a glowing one-shot Girl Scout is in the area, and I'm just dying to tag along, no pun intended, so I chase her down, hit the rift clit, follow the flashing leader and secure an overextended homicide. But Lucy sees I'm looking juicy and decides he wants to get baited worse than a young EDP 445 who's been promised cupcakes, as we dodge 2 close calls and then kill him off. But we're not out of the woods, or what League players call the jungle, yet, as there's a bush bouncing bobcat who is probably erect as all hell looking at 3 of us all one shot, knowing that if he plays his cards right he will experience the most profitable round of leapfrog he's ever played. But we managed to keep our distance, and I'm thinking I hope this cat was neutered, because if not, those things are gonna be concerningly blue after that. You may be thinking that level of tilt is hard to come back from, but my top laner was just determined to give them hope as he opts into putting his Glacial Augment Rune to the test 1v1 against a raging tentacle Tina with bad intentions, and to absolutely no one's surprise he loses that one hard. And a wise man once said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over expecting different results, and I believe that man would say this Renekton is insane as all fuck, as he dies again, and then a few seconds later he completes the hat trick before deciding his time is better spent trying to make friends with underaged girls on Hello Kitty Island adventure instead, while the terrible tandem decides that they can tag team this tentacle hentai raid boss, thinking if they add up the sum of their brain cells it will equal almost half that of a normal human being, but something in their flawless plan to fight a fed Eloy on her ult was miscalculated, and they successfully make this 4v5 that much harder. So at this point they are rocking an impressive 0-5 while my top is completely pieced out and everyone wants to give up, and I'm sorry to anyone who shares an opinion with this dumb shit Cherise, but I was saying no to this one. We were still securing objectives, and even though J3's defective sperm cell of a son died right after I was able to fire 15 Cheerios at the small Barbie before fucking up that floating space worm right after. This was good and all until Triss decided to overextend further than a hip joint on a contortionist, which managed to do nothing but attract the attention of a slaughter-starved kill kitty when she should have just pissed off after the fight. Here's the thing though. This particular Trist had happy hoppy I'm so sloppy syndrome. As you can see, she found herself outnumbered, ready to get dicked more often than a young Riley Reid on a casting couch, and never failed at giving all 5 of them some gold in the process. But not to fear, Captain Cucksuck IV is here, and you can count on him to show up 30 seconds after the fight to make his contribution. And while that moron was staying consistent in her split push while never looking at the map strategy, they were using their numbers advantage to knock at the front door up top. But thanks to some clowning around and J4 doing something useful, I was able to fire off a single Q that earned me over 2 Gs. Then I was getting my sneako on, which is not to be confused with the Andrew Tate taint sniffer who defends that cuties movie, but rather someone who loves surprising Samsung Galaxy tadpoles and then ulting them down before getting in a sticky situation and going full-blown Indiana Jones to escape a poorly trained house cat. But I've been taught that there's something to learn from everyone you encounter in your life, and you may be looking at this dog-water dead flamingo of a failed abortion and be thinking no shot, but the one thing I learned from researching new ways to commentate her ineptitude is that there are actually states in the US where you can have an IQ that is too low to get a driver's license. Who knew? Anyways, I'm now bot side trying to clean up that hopping hobo's mess when Shake O sends his fake Owen, which gets that kitty lower than a diabetic's blood sugar level, so I wait for him to think they're alone and then I pop the glowing cherry before hitting the Tarzan tug towards that tranquilizing toddler, which would have gone better if these hooded midget employees didn't cock block me from getting the double. Their top laner is enjoying the amenities of being spoon-fed 3 kills by a cocksucking crocodile and then being left alone in a lane, so it takes most of my remaining teammates to kill her off. While you may be thinking, why isn't Trist contributing? And that's because she was too busy lubing up her whole body in catnip and then enjoying the thrill of someone in her life actually pursuing her. At this point I'm trying my flaccid sweaty wet dick off to get my team some bounties, but I know a move like this comes with risk. They are now deep into our base, and I know from watching this Tristana all game that a marksman's odds of hanging out with 4 of them at once are slim, so I do a quick drive-by to get the lay of the land, and then I opt into just waiting it out until a better opportunity presents itself for me to safely stay back and steal a super shutdown from my Shake O. Tristana is remaining consistent in proving why she is that nephew in the family that even the sweet frail nice old grandma tells her friends at the nursing home is a few peas short of a casserole. But her efforts at home were much better, as it almost seems like she was waiting her turn for our other teammates to die before jumping in herself. But in case you're used to seeing how she does in 4v1s, I'd like to assure you that her standstill and auto attack performance wasn't any more successful in 1v1s either. Turns out it's easier for me to kill 3 enemies than it is for 3 of us to kill 1 tentacle Tina, but that is indeed the way the game is designed to work. Not to mention I'm probably giving some broke ass backseater all the ammo they need to flame my choice of mythic item in the comments, which admittedly was not helping my case against Iloe. But outside of her, these Kenny Rogers chickens were melting like marshmallows over a cranked up campfire, which was quite enjoyable despite me having to avoid Fiona from Shrek like it was after sundown, knowing I would just have to patiently wait my turn to get some alone time with baby Rapunzel and I'd be able to blow that bitch up with ease, and then I could go back and reunite with the boys against the fed calamari queen. Tristana was now grouping with the team, which was an improvement I guess, but unfortunately she was still about as useful as a screen door on a submarine, which complicated the logistics of us defending the push. But just when you think I was fed enough to carry this absolute piss fest reality that the average league player deals with on a daily basis, I made the fatal mistake of thinking that 3 of us could kill an exhausted Eloy, and I paid the ultimate price. I played the whole game well, but one stupid move was all it took for me to have to watch my teammates trying to not drool over each other long enough for me to get back, but that turned out to be wishful thinking. And so in summary, when you play a game that relies on 4 other people but 1 feeds then leaves and 2 others go 2 and 23, it makes you want to just queue up immediately after and do it all again because you are addicted to this shit. Rav out.